Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Just waiting on some people to come on in the room, and we'll get started. Hope everyone is having a good evening. Okay. We got a few folks. Hello, everybody. So we're going to jump right in tonight. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. And we'll get started. Hope everybody is doing good, staying safe from the coronavirus and this virus environment. The VA is still working, it's still moving, still completing claims. Okay, so let's get started. Carmella, are you there? Yes, I'm here. Can you explain what RFA-AMA means? It's on my va.gov next to my headache claim. It means a request for application under the Appeals Modernization Act. So basically, you filled out the wrong form is what they're trying to say. Either you didn't fill out a form or you filled out the wrong form, and you need to get that corrected. You might have submitted 526EZ, the application, where you need to submit a supplemental claim, which is 200995 form. And so I would get that straightened out pretty quickly, but you should get a letter in the mail that explains why they are requesting an application. If you have been denied for a condition before and you are claiming it, it has to go on a supplemental claim. It doesn't matter how long ago it's been denied. It has to go on a supplemental claim. What I can tell you is that these letters are coming out more often. I see them all the time, and it's just a matter of forms and formality. The VA has a law that says a claimant has to use the prescribed form to make a claim. So you have to use the right form in order for your claim to be valid. And I know there's a lot of confusion surrounding forms. So if you can't figure out which one it is, I advise that you send both, because they're going to pay attention to one of them. May I ask, were you a VA rater? No, I'm not a VA rater. I have never worked for the VA. I work for the veteran, and I love working for the veteran. Kudos to the VA raters out there. I know it's a very stressful job, a stressful environment, but fortunately, I've never been a VA rater. Thank you again for your help. You are so very welcome. Will any future examinations appear in My Health Vet? It depends. Are you talking about for a claim future examination? That would show, it wouldn't show in My Health Vet unless the VA itself is doing the exam. If they put it out to a contractor, it won't show in My Health Vet. And if you're talking about future examinations on a claim, then that date of your future examination will be on your rating code sheet. Your rating code sheet is a sheet that comes with a rating decision. Well, they don't mail it out to veterans anymore. They mail it out to representatives. But it comes with your rating decision, and it's the coded conclusion of your decision, basically. It gives all the codes, different codes that tell you exactly what you're rated under. I don't know why I can't think of the name right now, on the schedule for rating disabilities, and that type of thing. So you need to get your hands on your rating code sheet, and it will tell you when any future examinations are scheduled for your claim. I know the COVID things have slowed down. I requested my C-file last year in September and still nothing. Oh boy, they are taking a long time on C-file requests. Last I saw Doug posted, they were somewhere around 100,000 requests that they're working on right now. So it's not going to be a quick process. It used to be like 6 months, but I really, especially in this virus environment, don't have a good sense of timing on how long it's taking C-files right now. But what I can tell you is if you get a representative with electronic access, they have access to eFolder Express, and they can download your C-file for you. So in my opinion, that's the quickest way to get a C-file. I do it for all my clients that request it. Has the length of time for appeals decision changed? I wouldn't say so. It's still, what I'm seeing is that when you're in the new system and you do an appeal that is taking 8 to 10 months for a decision, not quite a year. I've had some decisions cranked out pretty quick. I actually had a decision that's in the legacy system that was done in a month this month. We claimed it last month. Put in an appeal last month, and it was done this month. I don't know how that got done. He didn't have any special hardship or anything, but I like it. And they're working real hard to get the backlog of appeals figured out and completed. So, it's taking less and less time. Okay. My husband fits the criteria for IU and hasn't worked gainfully in 16 years. Just rated 2020 April. I would tell you to go ahead and apply for IU if you meet the criteria. Are you 60 or 70% disabled and you're not working, you say. So he meets the criteria, so I would go ahead and put in for it if you feel like you can't get to 100 permanent in total. Are claims taking longer to process since COVID-19? I think so. I think the ones that need in-person exams are taking a long time. The ones that are done by telehealth are coming back pretty quickly, but the VA is going to start issuing partial rating decisions. So if your mental health part of your exam comes back, they're going to go ahead and rate that while they wait for the in-person exams for the rest of the exams. And I think that that will help speed things along and lessen anxiety for veterans who are waiting on results. So you won't be waiting 6 months to get your results on your claim. But claims that need in-person exams are going to take longer because they're just not doing in-person exams right now. When do I know to file IU, individual unemployability? It's a matter of when you know you can't work or you're having a really difficult time at work. A matter of if you meet the criteria for IU, you have 60 or 70% rating, and your employer will fill out the form. The form is not required, but a lot of times if VA likes it to make a decision, you can get buddy letters or statements or anything to help you with your unemployability claim. That would help. But it's kind of instinctive, to file IU when your working days are pretty much over and you are not 100% permanent in total. I submitted via fax a supplemental claim on 5/9/2020. I haven't seen anything on va.gov. When should I start to panic? Okay, so 5/9 was about a week and a half ago. I would give it another week, and if you don't see anything, send it again. My philosophy for faxing things to the VA is I always fax it twice. That way, if one gets messed up in the machine or pages are missing or something like that, they always get a second copy. So I fax everything twice to the VA. I know they don't like it because they just write in the system duplicate. But I find that to be the best way to make sure that you don't end up with a letter that says we only received half of your claim or the signature page was missing or something like that. Can you file PTSD initial claim if VA did not diagnose but an outside doctor but had denied a claim of major depression and anxiety through the VA? Yes, you can. Somebody said, why is there a jellyfish floating around in the mirror behind you? It's actually a happy birthday balloon that I still have. See, it says happy birthday somewhere. And I'm just waiting for the air to go down in it. Then I'll get rid of it. But I really liked it. My sister bought it for me for my birthday in March. And I liked the balloon, so I kept it around. That's a good question. Let me get it out your way. It might be distracting. Okay. Okay, jellyfish going. My VSO in New Jersey told me the regional office contact told him he can print out my CAP exam. Why is different areas have different rules? Also with the virus, you can't go to the regional office and print it out. That's a good question. When my clients request their exams, I always try to send it to them electronically or print it out for them. But some VSOs, I think, it's not that there's different rules for different areas. It's just that some VSOs don't know that they can do it, that they can print for you. And some don't allow it. I've heard people being turned away from getting their rating code sheet, and other things that they requested from their VSO. It's just a matter of them knowing how the VA works and knowing that you have a right to your information. So there's not really different rules, there's just different perspectives. Is there a sample statement and claim that we can use as a template to help out with our claims? Because it's putting the right language in the form. If you don't put what they are looking for, they will deny your claim. I think that's absolutely true. In the file section of this group, there are a couple different templates. I think the one for tinnitus that's there is really, really good. There's one for sleep apnea and some other conditions, but look in the file section of this group and see what you can find as templates for statements. Okay. Hello. I've been seeing a therapist and I'm also on medications for anxiety. Although I've been out of active service for 20 years, I feel as if it's gotten worse since I discharged. How difficult is it to file a claim for this condition? I'm new to this. It shouldn't be that difficult. Filing a claim is pretty simple and pretty easy. It's a matter of service connection, tying it back to your service. What did you see a therapist in service? Do you have any events that are service treatment records that show anxiety or cause anxiety or any mental health condition? If not, you're going to have to provide that Nexus information for the VA. What event or circumstance led to your anxiety? And I would make sure the dots are connected and the dots are connected and it's really clear what you're claiming and where your anxiety derived or came from. What is the appropriate form to reopen a closed appeal? Is it just closed April 30th due to paperwork delay and COVID? A closed appeal, you have a couple different options. You can take it to the Court of Veterans Appeals. You only have 120 days to fill out that form. Or you can take it back to the supplemental claim lane with new evidence. And you have, a year within a year of your decision to fill that out. I don't think things are closed due to COVID when it comes to appeals. They might have just decided your appeal and it's been closed. I hope I answered that right. I am rated for lumbar spine issues. I'm now having numbness and tingling in my legs. I saw my primary care provider about it. I'm thinking sciatica. He is referring me to an orthopedic appointment. Should I try to get a Nexus letter and DBQ? What are your thoughts? For that type of thing, I don't really think you need a Nexus letter and DBQ. I just think you need to claim it secondary. It's one of the most common disabilities like Nexus tinnitus, that if you have back issues, you have numbness and tingling in your legs. It's usually called radiculopathy, but sometimes they call it a sciatic problem. I would just make it real simple form, claim numbness and tingling secondary to your back. Leg numbness, bilateral leg numbness and tingling secondary to your back. And get the records from your primary care provider and provide those to the VA. And that should be enough in lieu of a Nexus letter and DBQ. It's already service connected. You're already rated for your back, so you don't need a Nexus letter. A DBQ might help, but I would try to, you might need a Nexus letter if you're trying to get radiculopathy secondary, but usually they're just rated secondary to the back. And so I would just put in for it and send the records and let it go from there. My VSO, okay, in New Jersey said the regional contact said they cannot print out CMP exam. I was told in other areas they can. Why do different areas have different rules? Again, I don't think it's different rules. I think it's different perspectives, and people don't know the rules. I just think it's pure ignorance, not intentional ignorance, but they just don't know the rules. So their perspective is it's in the VA's possession and they can't release it, but it's actually your information and it can be released. That's what a VSO is supposed to be for. Also, with this virus, can you go to regional office and get records? No, you can't go in a regional office and get records at this time. They have closed the offices to the public, so you're either going to have to make a written request and fax that in, or get it through your VSO. If one VSO won't do it, try another representative. Just don't go on one person's opinion. How can I find out where I stand with the DAV in Cleveland? You need to pay them a visit or a phone call. I don't really necessarily know what you mean by where you stand, but if you have any issues with the DAV, visit them, call them. Some of them are not open because of the virus, but if they are, I bet there's a lot of chapters in Cleveland. It's a big city, so I would get acquainted with them. First claim, should I attempt to add shin splint secondary to punar fasciitis? You can. The VA rates shin splints as either a knee condition or ankle condition. So that's really what you would be claiming. They don't really rate it as a foot condition, but I've known doctors to say that shin splints come for the foot. It's different. Doctors have different perspectives, but I've argued with the VA about this and it did not win. Shin splints come from the knee or the ankle in the VA world, and if you're trying to claim that, you might as well. It's better to claim secondary to your knee or ankle, but if you're not rated for those, claim it secondary to your feet. Yes. Carmella. I called QTC and argued that the file was complete, decision read, and no need for in-person exam. They agreed and called 3-minute interview for ED, and file was approved within 65 days last week. I had out-of-state DBQs and Nexus Letters too, 100% PMT with SMCS, and about a week prior to this, my HLR from 9/31/19 came back for combat PTSD 70 to 100%. Just sharing. Oh, congratulations. I'm glad that you fought for yourself and you won. It's always good to hear success stories. Kudos to you. Try to help others do the same thing that you did. Can I file GERD secondary to PTSD? I filed it. They said it would be an ACE exam. What is an ACE exam? Yes, you can file GERD secondary to PTSD. There's a whole list of things you can file secondary to PTSD if you have it. But an ACE exam is simply an exam without you present, where they look at your records and try to decide if there's a connection, if there's any connection in your records. I'm not a fan of ACE exams. I'll say it loud and say it proud. Not a fan of ACE exams. I believe the veteran has a better shot when they get an in-person exam, but and the doctor meets and fills the veteran out, and the veteran gets a chance to explain themselves. But in this virus environment, the VA is doing a lot of ACE exams. They always had the option, but they just usually don't use it. So when do you feel the VA will start back doing CMP exams. I'm hoping by July. I think June is a wash already, but I'm hoping by July things are starting to get back to normal. Carmella, I need to talk to personally about a queue. Send me a message. What if you are unable to locate your medical records from the service? It's difficult. It's very difficult to file any type of claim when you don't have any medical records. I would make sure I exhausted all options of trying to find my medical records. Have you looked on TRICAREonline.com? Have you? I'm sure you're requesting it from the archives. Sometimes they do mess up though. If your records got burned in the fire or something like that, they're just not available. You're going to have a really hard time filing a claim. But there might be other ways that you can prove you had a condition. Were there any prescriptions, any pharmacy records that you can go back and say, I was taking this for this condition? Buddy statements, your statements. Those are you have to kind of reconstruct history for the VA. Have the length of appeal times has been changed? I think it's pretty much running on the same schedule. I'm seeing it take less time, actually, just a little under a year in the new appeal system, which is good because that means they're moving a lot of cases fast. I'm still seeing quality decisions. So my thing is, if you don't win at the agency, don't be afraid to go to the BVA because you should get a well-reasoned opinion. If you don't win at the BVA, don't be afraid to take it to court. Sometimes the VA will just settle with the veteran instead of having to actually go through a court situation. Why is it so hard to get a Nexus letter after you have departed the military for sleep apnea? The VA diagnosed me with sleep apnea, and I now currently use a CPAP. I had this issue when in the military, but never thought anything about it. I would be awakened at night, coughing and near choking. However, my spouse is the only one who has knowledge of this other than myself. It's hard because there's no record of it. If there was a record of it in service, matter of fact, I have a client who just today, he's been fighting for sleep apnea since 2005. And he had sleep problems in service, and they've been giving him the runaround for 15 years. And it finally came back approved today. But it took him that long to keep applying and keep going after it for it to be service connected. We had to get the right evidence and present that to the VA in the right format to get it approved. So sleep apnea, I guess, is becoming more common for veterans to claim, but there has to be some link to service. Write a statement. Get your husband to write a statement. And that's what you have to go off of, really. How long after, and then, what is the distance, the time between service and when you were diagnosed? Was it within a year of service? 2 years? Did you gain any significant weight between those times? If you didn't, it might be easier to prove that you had sleep apnea in service or something like that. Okay, moving right along. My doctor, primary care provider, is unwilling to write a Nexus letter. Where can I find a doctor that's willing to do the letter? If you look in the announcement section of this group, there's a master list of doctors that have put together that will do Nexus letters. Sometimes it's about calling around and finding another local doctor in your town that will do the paperwork. But definitely, if you need a Nexus letter, don't give up trying to find one. Okay. I'm rated 10% for vertigo. I want to file for an increase. What documents should I include? Okay. Any private care provider records that you have for your vertigo, any would help. Have you been being seen regularly for it? Can you show that there's an increase in just your records without being evaluated? Because you're likely to get an ACE exam for it at this point. If you feel there's an increase, put in for an increase. There's a possibility that you could be reduced, but that's if it's healed, going away, and it shouldn't, if it's resolved. I mean, if it's still an active problem, you shouldn't be reduced. So don't be afraid to file for an increase. What is the difference between statement of the case and supplemental statement? I was told that I will receive a statement of the case or a supplemental statement of the case. A statement of the case is the VA's response to your appeal at the agency level. It's what happens before in the legacy system, what happens before your file, before you go to the Board of Veterans Appeals. Like the agency takes one more look at it. They have a higher level reviewer review it and see if somebody missed something or they can grant service connection or something like that. Statement of the cases are not in the new system anymore. Really, it's just a bunch of pages with a bunch of laws written on it and served little purpose in actually educating the vet on what it needed to be done. But a supplemental statement of the case, you should get a supplemental statement of the case if you've been issued a statement of the case and you submitted new evidence within a 60-day time frame, I believe. You submitted something to push back at the statement of the case, and they had to take another look at it again. So that's what a supplemental statement of the case is. I want to apply for an appeal for my claims. My current civilian doctor is reluctant to do a Nexus. Any recommendations? Yes, there's a master list of doctors who will do Nexus letters in the file section of this group that I put together. That's probably the best that I could do for you. Call around in your local area, the urgent cares, the doctor's offices, and see if any of them are willing to do the paperwork. I always say if you can find a doctor who's a veteran, you might have some luck. Why does the VA seem to go up against their own rules and regulations when it comes to presumptives for Desert Shield storm veterans? It's absolutely ridiculous. I think you're right. It's just those Gulf War syndrome and undiagnosed illness are not widely accepted by the medical community. It's not common. It's sort of a difficult concept for a doctor to say there's a pattern of illness but no diagnosis, or something like that. It's that the rules just seem to kind of collide and clash themselves. And so now I don't see many veterans get approved for it. There's probably other ways to go about it, pursuing it when it comes to your claim, but those Gulf War presumptives are really hard to get service connected at this time. If my husband, If my husband's appeal for SMC was approved for aid in attendance before the rest of his appeal for TBI increase which was then rated at 100%, how do I appeal the SMC rating when they approved it, but he now qualifies for SMCT? There's no appeal button online because it's closed due to the appeal being approved. attendance before the rest. How do I appeal the SMC rating? That's an interesting question. I would say file for an increase on the SMC, but I don't think there's a way to do that without them relooking at your whole rating. You might either try a supplemental claim, or if the board already approved the appeal, or and add new evidence that he's at the SMCT level, or you could take it to court and appeal that get an attorney and appeal that his SMC should be higher. At whatever the rate, don't let a year pass before you take action on it, since your appeal date, so your effective date doesn't drop. And that's a complex question. If you need some more information, feel free to message me. When I file a new claim, how will I upload new records? Will taking photos from my phone work? Yes. You upload them when you file the claim. If you're on va.gov or eBenefits, when you get to the end of the application, it's going to give you either a chance to upload documents that are specific to a claim or upload optional documents. And so that's where you upload your documents. Is it true the VA is going against Nexus Letters? I wouldn't necessarily say that. The VA is not big on private medical evidence generally, because it's not in the format that gives them a way to rate it easily. If you turn in a DBQ or a doctor does a DBQ, it's in the format that raters need and answers all the questions that raters need to rate you. But if you have private medical evidence, sometimes it will say that you have vertigo or you have headaches, but it doesn't tell them the severity, how frequent they are, what type they are, what causes them, and all that plays into the rating. And so they're not going against Nexus Letters. It's just that you have to make sure your private evidence is on point. I've seen a Nexus Letter at least push them to give the veteran an exam. And so that's a very valuable thing. So don't give up on Nexus Letters. Can you apply for IU if you are still working? Yes. Did a sleep study while I was in. Do I need to follow up with my PCM while still in, or should my documentation from the private physician that the military sent me be good enough? Thanks for all you do. You're welcome. I would follow up while you were still in. While you're still in active duty, get all the documentation you can of your disabilities. So if you have to keep going to the doctor for it and you still having sleep disturbances, please keep going while you're active duty. On multiple claims, do you see more claims being deferred and VBA rating just claims they have enough evidence on to help the claims move faster and defer the rest? Yes, I do see that. I have finally gotten treatment for my numbness in my feet, peripheral neuropathy. I was denied in 2008 for it. Can I put in for a reconsideration for that claim that was denied? The VA no longer has reconsiderations in the new system, the new appeal system, but you can submit a supplemental claim with your new evidence, and hopefully it will be enough to get you an exam and another opinion, medical opinion. What about an opinion is asked for from QTC? How long do they take? That's a matter of the doctor and what their schedule is like, and just how fast they are to return exams. I mean, just this today, I had a veteran that had an exam at 10 o'clock this morning, And by 6 o'clock this evening, the results were turned into the VA, and I just sent them to him. Unfortunately, it wasn't approval. The doctor didn't agree that he had a mental condition, but things can move just that fast, depending on the doctor. If they write up their reports fast, or some doctors really lag, they have a whole caseload and they're behind on getting things turned into the VA. Some of the contractors like VES have a quality assurance department that it goes through before it's returned to the VA. And they sometimes could take a long time because they send things back to the doctor to correct. But so I don't really have a feel. I have a feel for my local area, but I don't know what area you're asking about. And it's just a matter of the doctor. Hello, I was wondering if military records units are backlogged, and if there is a way to get a record sent to the VA more quickly. My husband has been waiting for a few months for one form from Germany to be sent to the VA. He requested an expedited process because of extreme financial hardship, but the records are still not making it to the VA. Okay, in this case, I would strongly suggest that you find a representative who has electronic access to the VA systems and have them print out the forms for you. So the service treatment records should be there. The records from Germany should be there. I don't know why you're having to send records to the VA. The VA automatically pulls records when you file a claim. So there shouldn't be much legwork you're doing there in terms of getting records to the VA. They are backlogged on records requests. I think I just talked about that earlier at the archives, and it's taken 6 months or more. But there are some people in St. Louis and around the archives that it's a paid service that you can get them to go get your records quickly. I wouldn't advise that unless you really, really, really need it. I think more attorneys use that service and other things, but the VA should already have requested that document, and it should be flowing to the VA at some point. I work with people that have sleep apnea secondary to PTSD and anxiety. So I claimed sleep apnea secondary to anxiety, and I got denied. And I had a Nexus and a DBQ from a provider. Any thoughts? I'm waiting on the higher level review now. I think higher level review is absolutely the way to go. They should have considered your private DBQ and Nexus, and you should argue for the benefit of the doubt that the evidence is in equios. And because of that, the ball should go to you. The ball should go to your court, because both the VA opinion and your private opinion should be equal, and you should be given the benefit of the doubt. Are most CMP exams for migraines secondary completed over the phone in this virus environment? Yes, they are. Usually they're not. You're seen in person. But since COVID and all these closings, they're doing headache exams by the phone. Where do I get my in-service records? Records from the time I came in to the time I was discharged. You get them from the National Archives Center in St. Louis. You have to do a Freedom of Information Act request, a Privacy Act request to get your records. There's a template for that in the folder, in the file section of this group. It's going to take a significant amount of months to get your records, but that's how you get them. The second option is to find a representative with electronic access to the system and have them download your records, put them on a thumb drive, a CD, or something for you. I noticed it's next to impossible this secondary collect sleep apnea to PTSD. It is difficult. Some doctors believe in the connection, some don't. But you know, there's hope. It does get connected. So if you get denied at the agency level, file a higher level review. File a board appeal. Don't just take no for an answer. I didn't have one on my recent claim. Didn't have what? My father-in-law is 83 with prostate cancer. Can he get his claim expedited? Yes. I would have your representative contact somebody at the regional office. They have people called the change management agent at each regional office, and they kind of handle miscellaneous issues like an ombudsman. I would have him, they should know how to get in contact with the regional office and write a letter to get it expedited. I just had a vet that had a terminal illness that he passed away in December. They issued his rating in January. You know, his wife was able to get the back pay, but you know, and I had put in for his claim to be expedited, but sometimes they just don't get to it fast enough. But I would definitely try. I submitted new evidence toward my sleep apnea and checked the box option SOC, SSOC, and supplemental claim. My sleep apnea was on the old appeal system effective 12/29/2016. I had no lapsing dates and submitted my appeal. I was awarded for my sleep apnea with effective date of February 7th, 2016 instead of November 29th, 2016 when I first submitted the claim. Ms. Brown, I'm not understanding the question because it would seem that the February date would be more generous to you and more favorable. There must be something that you filed in February 2016 for them to have given you an effective date. Or there's also a law that says if an increase in your disability is ascertainable within a year before you filed your claim, that the VA can grant you a date within that year. It's a little used effective date rule. The VA does not like it, but it is there. So it could have been that you had some private treatment records or something from February 7th, 2016 that caused the VA to backdate it to then. But it seems that the February date is more beneficial for you than the November date. So I'm not really understanding the question. I also submitted an LHR for the correct effective date. Was that the best move? I'm not sure because it looks like the February date is more beneficial for you. And maybe you just typed the dates wrong. But if the November date is earlier than the February date, then yes, HLR is the way to go. If February is before November, then no, I wouldn't file a HLR. Can you be in the process of an appeal and hire a legal representative to take on your claims? Absolutely. I take on claims in the middle of situations all the time. And I try to immediately, make the situation right as fast as I can. My philosophy is to get the veteran the highest benefit in the fastest time possible. And, if you are running into dead ends yourself, it might be best to bring in, another picture. And a Gulf War claim, can you claim the presumptive and direct service connection? Would that help link? Yes, you can claim two theories of service connection at the same time. It might help. It's all up to the doctor. Also, can you still do an appeal on a wrong effective date if they denied you on the HLR? Yes, you can appeal it to the board. What is the best route to go to dispute an examiner's results, appeal, and provide private evidence? What does the JSRC do for my PTSD claim? There's a request on my benefits and my e-benefits for PTSD stressor from JSRC. Forgive me for not knowing or remembering what JSRC stands for, but I know that they are requesting evidence. They're trying to find evidence of your stressor that you submitted. That's where they go to that department and they try to find something in your records or something in the record from the time you were talking about that the event happened. So they're just basically looking for records for you to verify your stressor statement or your PTSD claim. It's a good thing that it's moved to that point instead of outright denial. Hopefully the JSRC comes back with the records that are needed to prove your claim. Joint Services Records Resource Center. That's what it stands for. Joint Services Records Resource Center. I don't know why, who gave it that long of a name, but it's not efficient. Can a hysterectomy cause PTSD symptoms? It depends on what. Did you get a hysterectomy because of rape, because of some trauma, or something like that? I wouldn't necessarily go to the level of PTSD. That wouldn't be my first claim. I might try depression or anxiety or something like that, insomnia, something like that first. But can it cause it? It's probably been done before. Is that an easy thing to claim? Probably not. How can I join the group? If you're commenting on this video, then you're already in the group. Welcome. I'm rated for 70% for PTSD, 50% for sleep apnea, and 10% for tinnitus. I'm struggling with work. Can I file for unemployability? How hard will it be to get unemployability? Yes, you qualify for unemployability. It's not a matter of you struggling. You're struggling with work. Okay. I thought you had said you were struggling to find work. But if you're struggling with work, yes, consider unemployability. It's just a matter of proving to the VA that you can't work anymore. Have your employer fill out the form that is needed from them. You fill out the form and get it back to the VA and let them make a decision. They're going to give you new exams for your conditions to see if they worsened any or that type of thing, to see what a doctor says about them and you working. But I wouldn't say it was terribly difficult. Why is the VA not doing CMP exams for certain increases? Right now, they're doing a lot of records reviews because of the virus. So that might be why you don't have a CMP exam. If you put in for an increase and you don't have an exam, that would be very, very strange. So unless you submitted private evidence that satisfied the level of evidence that the VA needed to decide your claim, it's very, very strange if you put in for an increase and you don't get an exam. So unless they just do a records review, that's strange. Who can I contact about getting a copy of my CMP for PTSD with QTC? You can contact your VSO, claims agent, whoever's representing you, or you can file a Freedom of Information Act, Privacy Act request with the VA. There's a template in the file section of this group to get your exam results. If you do it that way, it's gonna take a bit of time. But find somebody who has electronic access. A lot of claims agents have it. and that can work to get you a copy of your exam for you. Okay. Just catching up here in 1 second. Okay. What can I do if the VA medical facility where I'm located can't find my medical records anywhere? They need them for my claim. Oh boy, that's a tough situation. If they've lost your medical records, then is there any other way to prove that you had the conditions? Are there pharmacy records? Did you get any prescriptions for the conditions? Are there the doctor's still there and willing to write a statement that you were treated for the condition, but they've lost the record? You have to sort of think outside the box when there's missing records and try to reconstruct history for the VA. What do they look for, or what could they be looking for? I really don't know what you're asking. How could I be awarded 10% for 2 knee replacements here in Jackson, BMAC? I would definitely appeal that. You should get higher than 10% for 2 knee replacements. Have you known anyone successfully claimed and won female sexual arousal disorder? Lots of people. Lots of people have been successful in that claim. So if you feel like you have it, go at it. Higher level review denied my claim after telling me via letter that my buddy letters were credible and competent if I returned them certified. I did, and they still denied my claim. I appealed it to the BVA. VA has continuously denied my claim for years after I submitted 3 Nexus letters, private records, and 8 buddy letters. I'm glad that you appealed it to the Board of Veterans Appeals. You should get a better decision there. If you have that much private evidence on your side, you should get a better decision at the Board of Veterans Appeals. One second. I'm sorry, my effective date was February 7th, 2020. Okay, higher level review was definitely the way to go with that, because you should have a 2016 date if it was continuously pursued since 2016. That means 365 days did not lapse between any 2 claims. And so higher level review was the right route to go there. If they denied a higher level review, appeal it to the board. In 2008, the representative filed the wrong paperwork instead of comp and pen. Is there anything else you can suggest? I challenged that also with the board and submitted a copy of the paperwork the rep filled out for health benefits and never scheduled me for a doctor's appointment. Oh, wow. It might be that the board might consider an informal claim that you filed in 2008. That's totally up to the board. That's a difficult situation. I'm sorry that happened to you. It might be that the board considers your health benefits application as an informal claim. I don't think the chances of that are too high, but it might be possible based on a record and, a statement from you that you intended to file a claim. But I'm sorry that your representative dropped the ball. I was denied in March 2019 and won the HRLR in February 2020. Yes, it should be backdated to March 2019. How is it you can submit a claim for increase due to your disability and include evidence that it's affecting your job to where you're missing work and now not working because you ran out on short-term disability and they try to decrease your rate, and how do I proceed? Ask for a hearing ASAP. When on a proposal to reduce, if you ask for a hearing within 30 days of the letter, they're required to not decrease your benefits until you get that hearing. At that hearing, you want to present new evidence or argue that your condition hasn't improved over the long term enough to lower your rating. You could also put in for an increase during that time and get another CMP exam. There's a lot of different routes you can take, but if you feel like they're wrong and you shouldn't get a decrease, put in for a hearing ASAP within 30 days of the letter. Put it in writing that you want a personal hearing from the VA, fax it off to the VA, and while you're waiting on your hearing, get more medical records and more private treatment records to support your claim. It should not take 4 years to get it done. You are absolutely correct. I had the wrong dates. My new evidence for sleep apnea on my appeal was September 29th when I submitted new evidence for my appeal. Also, yes, I think I already answered that, but you should definitely, higher level review was the right way to go. Is there a way to get PTSD separate from anxiety? No, there isn't. The VA only rates one mental health condition, and otherwise it would be parameting. And so it's not possible to get it separate, because if you're diagnosed with PTSD and anxiety, the VA is just going to combine them and give you one rating. And usually anxiety is a symptom of PTSD. So it's pretty hard to get anything separate, doctor to say that it's separate there. I have a scar on my hand from an IED blast. What can I claim? I have pain. Do I do nerve damage or need advice? First of all, you can claim the scar itself. If you feel like there's any numbness, tingling in your hand, that type of thing. I'm not a medical professional. I'm just generally describing the symptoms. You can claim the nerve damage. If you feel like it hit your joint or anything into your fingers, you could definitely claim that. But I would write a statement to make sure the VA knows that it came from the IED blast. I assume you were in combat during that time, and the VA has a rule that says that a veteran statement about injuries while he or she was in combat should be accepted as true. So use that to your advantage. Hello, I'm going to the Board of Appeals for PTSD. Do I go to a law firm or keep waiting? It's totally up to you. It's not that a law firm or an agent or a VSO can speed things along. That won't happen, but they can make sure that you have all your ducks in a row, so you won't be spinning your wheels at the Board of Veterans Appeals and end up just getting denied again. Can you help me file a claim against the effective date they gave me for depression? I could help, or any other agent, attorney, VSO, get you a good representative. I filed a claim in March 2019 for right wrist and irritable bowel syndrome. I was denied because they said it was not in my medical records. I had a VA rep access my medical records, and they found evidence of both issues in my medical record while on active duty. And as a veteran, I take medication for IBS. Do I resubmit the claim with copies of the medical records on just those issues? I would not suggest that you resubmit the claim. I would suggest that you appeal the denial. I tried for an increase. My rep was zero help. got necessary documents, went for CMP exam, only for them to tell me they decreased my rating for 90 to 80. And the doctor at the exam just asked a few questions. Fight that reduction. Fight that reduction. Ask for a hearing within 30 days of the letter, a hearing, a personal hearing. Do everything you can to tell them that your condition hasn't improved over the long term and it should not have been decreased. Don't be afraid to take it to the board either if you've already missed the period required to request a hearing. Can I claim conditions secondary to PTSD and also appeal to the BVA for Gulf War exposure as I was in the Red Sea waters and areas that were approved? I submitted a buddy letter verifying the same as a fellow Marine was present with me in service. Yes, the answer is yes and yes. This was in 1994 as I was a Marine security guard at Addis Ababa, Ethiopia Embassy. We were attempting to be scuba certified and training was taking place in the Red Sea waters. Oh, okay. So there should be, hopefully there's some record of that IED blast and how it hurt your hand. But yes, you can claim the various things that are residuals from it, the scar itself, the nerve damage, the joint damage. Claim all that you can. I was previously denied before for Gulf War air exposure. For Gulf War exposure. Again, I submitted my butter letter verifying the same. I'm diagnosed with fibromyalgia, chronic pain, and multiple body pain. I wouldn't be afraid to take it to the board. Take it to the board. If you have those conditions, those are outlined in the Gulf War exposure description of what should be connected. And so I would definitely fight that. Does it help if your claims? Does it help your claims if the HLR is sent back to the regional office for correction of failure to assist in retrieving records and no exams? Yes, that's a positive development in your claims. It means that it's almost like a remand from the Board of Veterans Appeals. They're sending it back to get more information and make a new decision. All righty, guys. That seems like all the questions, guys and gals. It's been a pleasure. Grateful for all of your service, and hopefully you stay safe during this virus. Y'all take care.